When I was at the secondhand store there a couple weeks ago and picked up that photo frame for $2, well, that wasn't the only thing I picked up. I also picked up this gadget. This time, this one only cost $1. Let's see what I got and see if it works. This is another gadget that I found at the secondhand store. This one cost me $1. These weren't very expensive when they were new. It's an MP3 player with an FM transmitter. This one's a Hip Street. Don't know if it works, haven't tried it, but I thought maybe we might take it apart. Looks like this one may have had an auxiliary in or an auxiliary out on it at some point as well. But it supports an SD card as well as a USB stick. As I say, I don't know whether it works or not. What these were for is you plug them into your car, you plug them into your 12-volt power point, cigarette lighter in other words, and it would let you play music through your FM radio. So it allowed anybody with an old FM radio in their car to play their MP3 tracks. I have one similar to this. It's sitting on the other side of the shop, and that's what I use to play the music for when I'm testing stuff. It's not the same make as this one, and even looks even cheaper. It supports, I think it only supports 2 gigabytes. I don't know how big this one supports, what size of SD card this supports. We'll try it out. We'll see if it supports an SDHC. I'll put a bigger SD card in, and we'll see whether it reads some MP3s off of it, and see even if this thing works. So first, before I even take it apart, let's see if it works. I'll grab some music. I'll put some music onto both a USB stick and an SD card, and we'll see how big an SD card this will read. All right, I've got two different, these are both 16 gig. One's a SDHC 16 gig, and this one here is a 16 gig USB. Got this connected, my power supply set for 12 volts, so we'll just connect up the power, and we'll set the frequency on here. Probably already set to something. What's it set to? Power is up. If I can get my test leads to cooperate with me. Nice burned one from when I burned up an IC, and I still haven't got around to fixing it. Looks like it's on 107.9, so how do we change the station on this here? Channel. Okay, that's how we do it. Okay, so let's just put on 107.9 and I'll tune my stereo in. There we go. Alright, I'm assuming I just plug a USB stick in and it should start to play. If it'll read it. I don't know if it'll read it. It might be too big. It may only read smaller memory cards. Okay, it says 1, 001. Is it going to play? Maybe it doesn't work. Now this USB stick does not just have MP3s on it. It has a bunch of other stuff on it as well. It's got some movies and so forth on it. But does not appear to work. Did I get burned? Or do I have to use a smaller USB stick? I can go to a 4 gig and try that and see if that works. But it does not appear to want to play anything that's on here. Let's try the SD card. Will it work with this SD card? Now this SD card only has MP3s. It has nothing else on it. I don't even know what way this goes in. Does it go in this way? There. Okay. Oh. Power. Oh. So I wonder if it's just because there's other stuff on this USB stick, because it's playing this SD card. At least it did when I first plugged it in. If I keep the power cable on, maybe. Okay, so that works. It doesn't doesn't sound bad, Asher. Actually, it sounds better than my other one. This ballast better. My other one plays louder on one channel. We have to put a bigger antenna on this. If it's got a remote control. I got a remote from my other one. I wonder if it'll control this. Let's just see if this one will control it. I've got this other little remote control from my other player. Will it do anything on this? Let's see here. Does it control it? Well, that's pause. Okay. That's next. Cool. Okay. Okay, so the play button is down and the skip left is up. The skip forward looks like it's doing pause. Mode, what does that Oh, that changes the channel, the frequency. It's now on 88.2, you see. Now, what do these other buttons do on here? I don't know if it's got repeat or whether it's a random play. That's volume down. Oops, lost my power. We'll try that again. There's probably an EQ setting on this too that I'm playing with without realizing it, because I seem to have changed the sound. So if I go to 12 and then press this button, okay, that's how it works. I can enter the channel number or enter the track number followed by this button over here. So this remote does control this thing. I seem to have changed my sound though. It seems to be all on one channel. Where did my other channel go? Oh, that's where it went. This has got a connection problem in it. See, look at that. One channel's cutting out. Maybe that's why it was given away. Well, I think we're going to have to take this thing apart and see why that one channel's cutting out. It sounds like maybe this jack has got a problem. But that's kind of neat. For $1, MP3 player for $1. Yeah, I think I can make use of this. Just got to figure out how to take it apart. Let's do that. Now, something like this, I would not expect that this is going to have any screws to remove to take it apart. It looks to be all glued together, so I guess we're going to have to try to crack this one apart. Looks like it's going to split right down the middle, doesn't it? Maybe the front comes off. Either way, it's got to come apart because it's got a problem. One channel is cutting out, and it seems to be to do with that jack, which is non-standard. It's not a 3.5 millimeter. It looks to be a 2.5 millimeter, so it's not a standard type headphone jack. If we look at a standard headphone jack, you'll see there's a 3.5 millimeter. You see the difference in the size here? So there would have been a special cord. I'm thinking it's an auxiliary cord to plug it into, say, a phone or something and use it just as a transmitter, but there's obviously been a dedicated cord that came with this thing when these were new, and I have no idea when this would have been new, but it's a while. I haven't seen these around. I'm sure you can still get them, but I haven't seen them in stores in forever. The one I use on the other side of the shop, I think I only paid. It's got a little LCD screen that you can't read anymore, but because the LED backlight is not working very well on it. But I think I only paid about, I don't know, 15 bucks. I was back in the day when I was driving a car that did not have ability to play MP3s, so that gives you an idea how long ago that was. Okay, that's going to pry off. I can see that. That's going to split right here. Excellent. Okay, that bezel comes off. Okay, there's the infrared receiver and the little LED display. And there's some screws under here. Excellent. Oh, and I think somebody asked me about these other screwdrivers before. These ones. Somebody asked me about this, and then they asked me about this one. These are Vessel, by the way. Part number is TD56S. If you want a screwdriver like this, well, you're not going to get one of these, but this is the next best thing, because they are, this is number 0. I think this is a 00 on this one. Yeah, this one, this little Sony Walkman one is a 00, but guess what? It's got a number 00 as well, and a 000 and a quadruple 0. So it's got that one. It's even got this one here, which is even smaller. That might even be closer, to tell you the truth. I'll show you a close-up just so you guys can see these, just for comparison. So there's the little Sony that everybody likes and everybody wants, and here are the Vessel. And I think that one's probably the same size. This is a 00. This is a 0. This is a 00. This is a 000, and this one here is a quadruple 0. So if you want some small screwdrivers like this, I would highly suggest you go and look for one of these. Vessel model TD56S. I bought these on Amazon. I think I got these on Amazon. Either eBay or Amazon, one of the two. But they weren't cheap. This kit, made in Japan, right? They're Japanese JIS type screws, or screwdrivers, or bits, I should say. I think I paid around $40 for that, which is about what this bit, when it was available from Sony. The handle was like $50 or $40, and the bit was 40 or 50 bucks. And as I say, when my other one got broken, when my daughter broke it prying out batteries, this is very brittle on these ones. But this is a beautiful screwdriver. And I say, one of my viewers who used to be a Sony service center, or Sony authorized service center, he had one brand new and he sent it to me. I did the unboxing. But if you can't get one of these, this is the next best thing, because these ones are great. The only downside with these, which I don't like, is it's got these stupid rubber. I mean, these can be moved, but they start to slip after a while. That's why I took it off this one, as it slips. What I might do with this screwdriver, this number 0, is I might, I've got another one of these handles. I might take the blue wood off and put it on this one. I don't know. Maybe that won't work. Be nice if I could. Just glue it down, like throw some epoxy in it and stick it on and glue it onto this one. What do you guys think? Would that work? Because I've got another one of these handles, but no bit for it. Anyway, let's pop this thing apart, if it will come apart. The screws are turning, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything. There's that one. And of course, this is a little smaller bit. It fits as well. These ones here are good for adjusting the guides on camcorders and stuff. This is a flat, like, slot, 0.9 millimeter and 0.7 millimeter. These ones are good for adjusting guides on camcorders. Just saying. Weak link on this is the case. The plastic hinge breaks. There we go. That's off. Cool. Now we're into this thing. We're in like Flynn, as Dave Jones would say, over at EEV Blog. Give him a plug. Let's lift up this circuit board and see what's underneath here. And there we have it. There is the jack that's probably giving us trouble. Oh, there's a little switch in here. Cool. And this would be the power. I guess this is power. That's the USB. 10th of December 2008 is when this was designed. So it gives you an idea how old this thing is. And I say my other one is probably at least as old as this. This is probably, what do we got here? We got 3 leads in here. Power and antenna. Is the antenna down in here too? Be an antenna on here somewhere for the transmitter. One of them's going to be power and ground, and this one's probably antenna. I bet you that's the antenna there. And this goes into this. There's probably a piece of wire in here that's being used as the antenna, I would think. Or maybe it might be coupled to one of the power wires using the vehicle's wiring as an antenna. That's a possibility. I didn't think of that, but that's a real possibility. But then again, I can just stick a piece of wire on this thing and hang it, because I won't be using it in the car. I will likely be using this here, though, for playing music through radios, especially if it works better than my other one. Okay, so we've got this jack here that is going to come out because I don't need it, or at least get cleaned. Probably be removed, because I think this is where our problem is. When I gave it a tap, the sound came on that one channel. So I think this jack is no good, so maybe it's time to remove it. Or at least put a jumper wire to short this internal switch so that it's always connected to the player. So let's just see. That's one side, and then the other side is there. So if I just put a little jumper wire across here, another little jumper wire across the other side, that should keep this thing from cutting out. So let's do that. That way I don't have to remove this, even though wouldn't hurt to remove it, just because I don't have a jack to plug anything in there anyway. So just put a little bit onto the wire itself. Pre-tin the wire. One side, the other side over here, like that. Okay, that one's done for one channel. We'll just break the wire off. Do the same for the other side over here. Tack it down like that. Hope you guys saw what I was doing. Break off the excess. So now we have a little jumper between the left channel MP3 player output and the little transmitter input, and same with the right channel down here. So one went across this here and the other one across there. Alright, so let's give this thing some power again and plug in the SD card and let her rip. Hook this up to an AC adapter so that it'll run all the time. That's what the intention is. I'll hook it up to an AC adapter so that I can just plug it in and let her run. But there we go. It's got power. It says 107.9. Well, it did until I lost power. There we go. Plug my SD card in, snap it in. There we go. Doesn't sound bad. There's an EQ on there somewhere. What all these buttons do. Only 61 tracks on here. This might be for like track 100. Go up by 100 and go up by 200. I don't know how many tracks this plays. It probably plays 999 tracks. Don't know what it plays, but it probably plays up to like 999 tracks. But tends to get there pretty quick. Okay, now what happened? It stopped. One of these buttons seemed to change the sound. Which one was it? Equalizer. There we go. EQ 1, 2, 3, 4. Interesting. Sounds like a bass boost. That might be flat. It's hard to tell. That's a treble boost for sure. Hard to tell which one's which, but that one sounds pretty good. Oh yeah, here's Mark. 5 volts in, ground, and antenna. So if I want an external antenna, all I'll need to do is just connect a piece of wire to this and I'll run it out, and that should give me an external antenna and a little bit better range than what this thing would currently have, which would be like 10 feet. So let's put a piece of wire on here and make this thing broadcast a little further than it was ever intended to broadcast. Let's do that. Oh, I still gotta hook up an adapter to it, but I can either go with like a 12 volt adapter. Obviously there's going to be a voltage regulator inside here to step down 12 volts to 5, or I could just hook up a 5 volt source to this board itself. Looks like here's our communications. It's got 5 volts, D minus, D plus, and ground. This would be for the USB, but it's also got other headers on here for other devices. Interesting. This one's from December 11th, 2008. That would have been my dad's birthday. If he was still around, that was his birthday, December 11th. So that one board was made on December 10th, and this board was designed on December 11th, 2008. Interesting. Let's hook up a piece of wire for an antenna. First, I'm going to give it power. I've got a power adapter. This is a 9 volt adapter, but unregulated. It'll go up to like 15 volts under no load, which is fine. Make sure that both of these are connected together, which they are. That way I don't have to worry which one I connect to. I'm just going to solder this right directly to the pins on the bottom and on the side here. The white wire is my positive lead. So I'm just going to solder this directly because this is not going to be used in a car. Again, everything's reversible though, right? So if I wanted to use it in a car, I could, but that's not likely because both vehicles that I have built-in MP3 players. So why would I need to use an FM transmitter? Much more useful around the shop to test radios and stuff with, right? So we'll just solder onto the positive terminal here. Solder the positive wire down to this one. And we'll solder the negative wire down to the side terminal. Tried to get away. I'm also going to connect an antenna. I made myself a simple dipole, just a 30-inch on each side piece of wire, 30 inches long, and I'm going to disconnect this antenna wire here that's feeding down into here, and I'm just going to connect this other piece of wire up, and we'll just run it out of the case, and one side to ground and one side to the antenna. So we'll just disconnect this one here first, the wire that went to the antenna, because there's no point in having a second one hooked up here. There, we'll just leave that like that. And on this side I can access where it says antenna and ground. We'll connect this wire up here and just run it out of the case itself. Just kind of set the board in place here so that it's kind of held in place. And then I can tack my wire down here, one to one terminal and one to the other. That's why I cut them at a little different length. So I should be able to tack this down like that, and tack this one down to the ground terminal. Like that. And should be able to run this out of the case, and might be a little bit of a tight fit there, but there are screws to hold it in place. Let's turn it on and see whether it works first of all. So I'll turn on my power. 107.9, which is what I'm set to. Plug in the SD card, and I should hear music. Here we go. So that works. So let's put the unit back together. Put the buttons in first. They fit into this cabinet. This is actually quite well assembled. I'm impressed. Who would have thought this thing would be as good as it appears to be? I should be able to put the screws in, and that'll hold the wire in place so that the wire won't pull out. There. Front faceplate just snaps back on. Just like that. Cool. There we go. Now I've got my little MP3 player with an antenna. I can turn on the power, plug my SD card in. I'll try another USB stick too. One that doesn't have a bunch of stuff on it. Let me go load another USB stick up with music without having a bunch of video files on it and see if it plays any better. Alright, this time I've got a USB stick. It's loaded with stuff. Let's plug it in. I can't play this though because I'll get in trouble. too bad.
The Beatles, with Paul McCartney paying tribute to the Everlys with...
Oh, can't play that.
Right. Catch. Close your eyes and I'll kiss you.
It plays everything in sequence, it looks like. I wonder if there's a random button on here that'll make it play in random. Let's see what happens when I push that. Over 400 tracks on this USB stick. I don't know how many's on here. Let's just go down to track number 1 and go back one. How many's on here? Does it go back? Oh, there's 908 tracks. So there's 908 tracks on this stick. So that's probably, I think this goes up to 999 is all it'll go to. 908. Anyway, that's a neat little. I'm gonna shut that off here before. That's a neat little MP3 player. $1. I don't know. That's the deal of the year. I think this might become my new little test transmitter for generating FM signals for testing radios. What do you guys think? The only thing is, it only goes down to 88.1. It won't. The other one goes down to 87.5, but this one here, at least it remembers what frequency it was on when it's powered down. When I power it back up, it remembers that it was on 107.9. Whereas the other one that I've got, if you unplug it and plug it back in, it goes down to 87.5 every time. So I've been using it on 87.5, which is kind of out of band, and some radios won't tune down that far. So this one might be a welcome addition to my my little test setup here for playing my test files, and I can play them either off of a USB stick or off of an SD card. Anyway, it was $1. I'm not complaining. I'm happy. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.